This video from FIFA's website is from 1999. That is the year the United States hosted China in the FIFA Women's World Cup final. More than 90,000 were in the stadium in what is still the most attended women's sports event in history. The United States won in a penalty shootout. The excitement in the United States about its women's football team has remained high. In fact, women's soccer, as it's called in the United States, is more popular than men's. The women say their team generated $20 million more than the men did last year. Still, they're paid far less than their male counterparts, sometimes earning just 25% of a male player's pay. Now, they're suing. CCTV's Roee Ruttenberg has insight.
They aren't just athletes, they are champions. The U.S. women's soccer team scoring big on the field, but ultimately losing at the bank.
Just coming off of a World Cup win, and the pay disparity between the men and women is just too large.
5 of the players are now suing their employer, the U.S. Soccer Federation, claiming gender discrimination. The women say the proof is in the numbers. For example, if the men play 20 games, even if they lose all of them, they'll still take home 30% more than the women. If they win, they'll make 2.5 times as much. And if that win is a World Cup, the men will get a bonus that's more than 5 times that of the women.
I think people look at women athletes and think of them just as entertainment, not as much as just great athletes, which they are.
The U.S. men's team has been around longer, but has never won a World Cup. The women's team has won 3. And last year, more than 26 million people tuned in to watch their victory. Dr. Catherine Hill says the wage gap extends way beyond soccer.
Across the board, we see women athletes earn significantly less than male athletes. And that's even true in cases where the revenue is fairly similar.
Beyond sports, Hill says the gap gets bigger the higher you go up the professional scale. Her watchdog group says pay differences can vary by age, race, and location. A woman working full-time in Washington, D.C. earns 10% less than a man. In Louisiana, she'll earn 2/3. Social biases may be to blame.
We have expectations for women and for men that are quite different. And when women try to move into positions that are higher earning, when they try to move into decision-making positions, they find themselves sort of torn between the norms for gender and the norms for that position.
Overall, she says, the U.S. is better than some, but worse than others, like Canada and Europe, where the gaps are much smaller. The U.S. Soccer Federation originally dismissed the claim and now says it strives to be fair and that it's currently reviewing its compensation structure. But the women say this turf war, equal pay for equal play, is far from being over. Roee Ruttenberg, CCTV in Washington.